How's it going, peeps? Welcome back to Viva La Coin. I am Joe. I will be your host for today's episode. And if you're wondering what I'm wearing, this is the closest thing to a Hawaiian I have left. It is like a pseudo Hawaiian kimono that I got in a story involving a nightclub on Bourbon Street in New Orleans at 4 a.m. years ago. However, we're not here for that. We're here for crypto. So on today's episode, I'm going to dive into how everything has performed in the bull run thus far, why some things perform better than others, where I think it is a waste of money to invest right now and why. And ultimately, if you have any questions or you have a coin that I don't mention, comment down below. I'm happy to respond to any comments, and I'm sure that I'll probably be covering it in future videos as we go. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We have 97 subscribers, so I need 3 more, and I'm out of Hawaiian stuff. So we're almost there, so help us push over that finish line. Now let's go ahead and jump into the video today just to start looking at where we're at in the market currently with Bitcoin, and then we'll jump into all the other altcoins and how they perform. So thank you for anyone that shared the video talking about why Bitcoin was dumping, because what did we see right after CME futures expired? We started climbing right back up from that low of 50,400. Now we're back up just shy of 55,000, and even a little bit earlier last night, we broke 55.5. So that should be a testament to show that when these things happen in cycles, or if things dump really quick for no reason, everyone else in crypto that understands what's going on is saying you're fine. I'm not a financial advisor, and always do your own research. However, we put that information out in order to make sure that you're not buying at the peaks, selling when it dips, and then trying to buy back in at the peaks. You will price yourself out, and I do not want to see anyone get wrecked. So keep paying attention, keep sharing the videos. It matters to me, and that's why we made this channel. Not to shill a bunch of useless price projections to you, but to make sure that everyone is educated when they come into the space, because if you're new, you've seen it moves at the speed of light. It is much faster than the stock market or anything else that you're typically in, and there's not readily available decades long data and information that you can access without knowing where to go. And the mainstream media is just going to scare the ever-living fuck out of you. So thank you for sharing that. And let's go ahead and look at this metric. So in my altcoin series breakdown, I said that we were about to break into altcoin season, which, if this is the first video you're watching about that, it's essentially where altcoins take some of the market dominance away from Bitcoin, and they tend to have their heaviest rallies. And this metric, we just crossed this line above into that sweet spot. So probably over the next month or two, we're going to see a phenomenal altcoin season where a lot of these different cryptocurrencies outside of Bitcoin will do really well. And that's not to say that Bitcoin won't do well either. It is just they do measurably better than what they would do across the months of, let's say, January to March, where Bitcoin was really, really pumping up and driving its value through the roof from $20,000 all the way to 61. Now, when we scroll down, I want to show you, there are a couple different charts here, and they break down the better performing altcoins comparatively to Bitcoin, which ones did worse. So the one I'm going to look at is just the overall year and what transpired since this time last year. And Bitcoin, just being as large as it is with over $1 trillion worth of market cap, it's still, over the course of the last 12 months, has gone up 659%. Now, that's pretty incredible for any normal investment, right? Even with Tesla and the normal stock market, people were saying it was the greatest call ever if you were invested in it, and they went up like 750, 800%. So Bitcoin is doing that just up to this point in the bull run, and it has room to go. So definitely that's exciting. But then we look at all the different altcoins and how they compare to their strength against Bitcoin. And in the cryptocurrency space, a lot of people measure how certain coins perform against Bitcoin as either they're doing much worse and they're going to continue to do worse. Or if it is a newer project or a lower cap altcoin, that may show that they have room to catch up and they may pop off in the near future. So when we look at these different cryptocurrencies, you're going to see some of the ones that I've already mentioned that I'm not a fan of over on the right hand side, where they've done worse than Bitcoin. And some of which I've covered: Ethereum Classic, which was that original fork of Ethereum when they got hacked years ago, and the miners decided to split it off because they wanted to roll the clocks back and other people didn't want to. Well, Ethereum Classic's still available on Coinbase if you wanted to buy it. I wouldn't. It's performing, it's up 112% compared to Bitcoin 659. And I believe that that's just due in part to when money flows into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is the tide that rises or raises all ships. So people that are either unfamiliar with what Bitcoin or Ethereum Classic is, or they're just hoping that maybe it'll get a nice pump, they're buying in, but it doesn't really have the same utility and the same growth potential that Ethereum has, especially as they fix their issues. And also included over here is Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV, which I covered in my Bitcoin Cash video. That one got the only real dislikes that we've gotten on the entire channel. It was like 4 dislikes because people that love Bitcoin Cash went in. They were super upset because I said it was a absolute trash asset compared to Bitcoin. Well, yesterday, Bitcoin Cash hit a new all-time low compared to Bitcoin's price in the history of the coin since their hard fork, because people thought, oh, Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. It's not. And you can sit there and lie to yourself or say, oh, well, it transacts faster and it's more accessible. None of that matters, because all of this is technology. Bitcoin can be improved upon. These other cryptocurrencies can be improved upon. If your main aspect of it is it can transact faster, they're going to have solutions for that. And they're already putting solutions in place by the day. No one's going to drop everything they have and the highest performing asset in the history of mankind to go and buy a shittier version of it that was forked off with almost, a fraction of the people actually holding it with a fraction of the value. So just some things to keep in mind when I talk about some of these coins today, especially the ones that I don't like. It isn't personal. It's not like I have like a personal vendetta against Bitcoin Cash holders or Bitcoin SV holders or Ethereum Classic holders. I don't care. My thing is, do they make sense to hold? If you get in, especially as a new investor halfway through the bull run, is it something that you're going to get decent returns on, or are you going to sit there while everything else goes up wondering why you're not getting any return? I don't want to see that. And I think some of the things we're going to clarify here will give a little bit more insight as to why some of these things don't move the way that people expect them to. Now, if we look at the top 50 performance over the last year, everything to the left of Bitcoin right here outperformed it significantly. Now, there are many other coins that have done that. These are mostly just ones that are now in the top 100 or that have done really well in their own regard. Now, a few of them that I'm going to point out real quick are Kusama, Aave, and Theta. And each coin has its own specific utility and use case. And that's going to be a differentiator when it comes to when I talk about the other ones and why they're not doing well and how they don't differentiate themselves. It does matter. So for, let's say, Kusama, which my biggest regret in this entire bull run is I owned a bunch of it back at $70. And I sold it to buy more Ethereum, not anticipating how bad all the congestion would be and how long it would take for them to fix that problem. However, I am happy for everyone that's holding it. And what Kusama is, and I'm going to do my own separate video on them, but they are essentially a test net for the Polkadot ecosystem. So when new parachains or new coins come in that want to be a part of the Polkadot ecosystem, they test out a ton of that stuff and do a lot of initial coin offerings and different things on Kusama before they enter into Polkadot. And Kusama has a very limited supply, so only 8,400,000 at the moment. And to participate in a lot of these initial coin offerings or parachain rollouts, you have to stake your Kusama. So it already ties up a very limited supply. And the return on investment of that, if you can get into some of these initial coin offerings, usually a new project might only be a couple cents. And then when it goes live to the main public, usually they pop up to a couple dollars. So you can get a massive return on investment. So not only is Kusama doing well, but any possible ICO you can get into is going to give you insane returns. So the utility is there, and it separates it from the way that any other testnet works right now. And I think a lot of people are going to take a note out of this playbook, and you're going to see a lot of Kusama-like testnet parachains or tie-ins on different cryptos as we move forward. For Theta, what separates them? What makes them different? Well, when that NFT boom popped off, Theta also was the largest, more NFT categorized cryptocurrency, but that isn't even their main function. What they do is think decentralized streaming. How many times on YouTube have you had one of your favorite creators either send out a tweet or put out a video that their content was taken down because they said something like I know people were mentioning the virus behind the pandemic, like the actual name. They were demonetizing their videos or just pulling them down. Or sometimes you'll see like people getting caught up in like trying to talk about more sensitive news or political things. Well, Theta is a decentralized streaming service. So whether it's gaming, whether it's YouTube streaming, whatever type of content you're trying to create, they want to be the decentralized version of your YouTube or your Twitch. And they had one of the biggest run-ups so far of any different cryptocurrency. And even if we look at the total, they're up 14,000% over the last year. Kusama's up 22,800%. So when people say 1,000x gains occur in crypto, they do. They absolutely do. It's not all of them. It's not even most of them. But if you can figure out the utility in the projects, then there is a lot of value there. Now, no, I didn't buy any of these when they were a penny. So I'm not one of those people that got in that early or knew what they did that quickly. But as we follow the market, you can still find out early enough to make a fair amount of gains on them. And again, Theta sets themselves apart with a very specific utility. And now they're a top 10 crypto, pushing Chainlink down to number 11 and overcoming Litecoin's position and pushing Litecoin down to number 10, which I'm going to be talking about Litecoin in a second, even though I have in the past. And then Aave was the second highest gainer over the course of the last year at 14,800%. Now, the reason why I put Aave up here is Aave deals with decentralized lending and borrowing. So if we're doing everything peer-to-peer and I can send money to anyone, well, just like in centralized finance, I can go and get a loan from the bank and they could say, hey, your credit's shit. And I would be like, well, you're $29 trillion of debt in this country. What do you mean my credit's bad? But I digress. For decentralized borrowing and lending, you can set your own metrics as far as how much collateral you want to post up, what the payments would be like, how that would work. And it's more complicated. I'm going to have to go into my own video on it. But they had a massive run up over the course of the end of the fall into the first 2 months of 2021. Where they hit a sticking point, however, is they're built on the Ethereum blockchain. And I've covered it before, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. As Ethereum is trying to fix its scaling issues, all the projects that are built on that have to try and scale and have to try and build are almost at the mercy of all the different things going on with Ethereum. So they did stall out. I do anticipate that they'll continue to go up as Ethereum corrects their problems, as well as Ethereum will go up as they correct their problems. But it's just a different way of looking at, okay, very unique concept. Back when DeFi was first coming out, massive, massive potential. But then other external factors put a little bit of a ceiling on them for now. So those are all things to pay attention to. Now we get to go into the fun stuff. and talk a little bit of shit about the projects I don't like. And again, none of it's personal. If you like one of these projects, that's fine. I'm just pointing out the reasons why I think that when you're investing in certain things that are not doing well, you're going to have a very long day watching everyone else make much, much higher gains. Now, you're going to see one token over there, basic attention token, that I did talk about in my Coinbase video that I actually like. Most of that 500% run up just occurred pretty recently. Basic attention token, since it's been around for a while and hadn't really had any new news before that grayscale addition to their trust, they were pretty stagnant. So I expect for them to be on this side over on the left of gainers over the next 3 to 6 months. So, but most of the other ones I'm not a big fan of, and I'm going to explain why. So let's go back to Litecoin. Now, everyone that I've talked to that owns Litecoin just doesn't like to discuss the fact that maybe, just maybe, it's not the best hold. And I get it. They've been around. They're one of the oldest, most successful cryptocurrencies in the entire space. But if we continue to revisit what their purpose was, they were designed to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold, to be a little bit faster, to be a little bit cheaper, and to be able to be the everyday payments for people while Bitcoin was the store of value. And the issue with this is, if you're looking at a store of value play, Bitcoin is better, and it has outperformed Litecoin in every aspect. Back at the top of the peak of the bull run in 2017 going into 2018, Litecoin, although it doesn't show its total peak, it went up to like $420, at least on Coinbase. And Bitcoin was right around $20,000. So you were looking at, it was right around probably what, 1/40th of Bitcoin's price, pretty close to that. Well, look at it now. It's at $184 and Bitcoin went up to like 61, but it's still like 55. It's getting left in the dust. And yeah, do I think Litecoin's going to pump? Sure. You know, it's in Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. A lot of people talk about it. They're adding different features, including privacy, which I think doesn't make sense to me. And I'm going to go into that for some of these other coins in a minute. But when you're looking at Litecoin in general, we're barely at half of our previous all-time high. And if we zoom in on the chart, it looks very similar to Bitcoin's chart. You know, we're rising. There's our peak in January, our crash. We rise. There's our peak in February. We crash. We rise a little bit. There's our other peak before this last futures expiration. It's mirroring Bitcoin pretty straightforward on the trajectory that it follows. It's just doing it at a much, much lower price range. And I think that's because it's lost its purpose. It's lost its utility, in my opinion. So, you know, if they bring privacy in, is that going to help? Well, everyone's struggling to figure out how to regulate this stuff in general, and most privacy coins aren't even listed on exchanges for you to purchase. I don't know if that's going to work into their benefit. The one big thing they do have going for them, in my opinion, is PayPal. Is they activate the payments for them. Yeah, people are going to have it, transact with it, pay with it. But if it's not gaining, and every other cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, is, I think soon enough, if Litecoin doesn't jump at least somewhere over $500-600 over the course of the next month or two, a lot of people may start to abandon those positions. And I said in my original Litecoin video, I would not be surprised to see it fall out of the top 10. It already has. And I would also not be surprised to see it fall down below the 20th spot in all of crypto by the end of the bull run. The next one I'm going to touch on is XRP. Now, I've had people leave comments about XRP, and a lot of people ask me about them. I am going to do my own specific episode and deep dive on them. But they want to be just a payment network, and you're going to see a lot of different payment networks that they want to be used for the transactional side. And not only is that space oversaturated with all these different cryptos saying, we want to be the payments. We want to be, look how fast we are. Okay, we get it. There's so many of them, and they're already trying to speed up Bitcoin with lightning payments and everything else. I don't know how much utility there is for that with so many cryptos trying to get in. Now, XRP does have the advantage of having a massive, massive supporting base. and already a market cap of $25 billion. What threw a wrench in their plans to really have a great bull run thus far is the SEC. So they've been in a lawsuit with the SEC involving whether or not they were a currency or a security, and also the team behind them were possibly selling them or dumping them illegally as well throughout the course of their initial offerings and early on in the crypto's inception. On top of that, XRP over the course of the last at least couple months has just been a pump and dump for people. So they'll pump it all the way up to 70 cents, 60 cents, and you'll see it dump hard right on top of people. So it's not, I don't see any real potential for them to shoot up with any utility that they have right now until that lawsuit is finished. And once that lawsuit is finished, could they go up significantly? Absolutely. But what I do know is that exchanges had no problem delisting them over the last couple months due to the lawsuit because they don't like XRP to begin with. And most people in crypto don't like XRP because the whole idea of crypto is to decentralize and to get away from this central banking system that we have. And XRP, their main client, the first people they went to were the banks. And they wanted to sell a ton of XRP to the banks. And they're like, oh, here, take it all, and that can be our system. We don't want them to have a shit ton of the crypto that we're going to be transacting with. Bitcoin is nice because they're so late to the party that even if they go all in and try and buy as much as they can, they still don't have even close to more than 50%. They're not even close. If you go straight to them and say, hey, we want this all to be central banking partnerships and the banks just go in and buy a ton outright, we don't know how much they did, but it's just you're getting into murky waters, pushing towards centralization in what is predominantly a decentralized push across the space. And this spills right over into Stellar too. So Stellar is essentially a copycat of XRP, and they're just geared towards payments. That's what their goal is. Early on, last bull run, I owned a bunch of both XRP and Stellar, but Stellar I liked a little bit more. However, just through the years, they haven't really come up. So they're still sitting at 38 cents, and they had their little bit of a pump here and a pump there, and you're going to see they kind of follow Bitcoin cycle because Bitcoin again is the tide that rises all ships. However, they're not going to go and incorporate themselves into anything beyond what, let's say, Cardano's doing, and actually trying to be a full decentralized financial network, which Cardano is officially going to be 100% decentralized, which means all blocks that are produced by the community and not the IOHK team behind Cardano on March 31st. And that's super exciting. Stellar is just another blockchain cryptocurrency, no unique utility aside from saying, oh, we're fast. We can update other things that can be fast. What is your specific utility? If you don't have one, I'm having a hard time seeing it as a good investment or where the value is. And I think that reflects in how poorly they've done up until this point. And yes, they're still up there, number 14 on coin market cap. But Stellar, Litecoin, XRP, and everything else have slid down the charts as time goes on, as these better projects like, even Binance Coin with their Binance Smart Chain or Polkadot or even Theta came up and pushed Litecoin right out of that number 9 spot, didn't even have a problem with it. Those are things to pay attention to. And when I talked about Litecoin, I mentioned privacy because their big thing that they wanted to add is that privacy feature, which is referred to as Mimblewimble, which is a nod to Harry Potter. But with Litecoin's privacy, people are like, yeah, that's great. Not only can we transact faster, which is no longer really an issue that Litecoin's going to be the solution for, but it can be private. Well, the other privacy coins are struggling. They're just kind of stagnant. Yeah, they're pumping a little bit. Monero is one of the biggest privacy-based coins, and they're not listed on any of those exchanges that I was talking about or mentioning because we're already struggling across every country in both centralized and decentralized to come to a conclusion of how we regulate cryptocurrency. And although I'm not a fan of overtaxation or banning it, I do believe healthy regulation is not a bad thing. However, how are you going to regulate privacy coins with total just anonymity behind them? It's like you're adding more fuel to that complicated problem dumpster fire. So adding more privacy to Litecoin doesn't make sense to me. And then privacy coins like Monero, they've just been moving much, much slower than what some anticipated. The same thing also stands for Zcash. So Zcash, even in their description, it's a decentralized cryptocurrency focused on privacy and anonymity. Well, good luck, because right now, your previous all-time high in the last bull run was up to around $867. And we are, from November of last year, we went from 57 to 132. If you look at the gains on this list of almost every other cryptocurrency, if you had a return of 200% over the course of 6 months of a bull run, you're probably doing something wrong. But hey, you know what? If privacy is that important and decentralization and immutability and all those things aren't good enough, then hold it. Maybe you'll have a breakthrough eventually. I'm not telling you what to do because, again, I am just a Hawaiian kimono wearing non-financial advisor on YouTube trying to educate you. So always do your own research, make your own decisions. Now, Dash is another one. Okay, they make very, very fast cryptocurrency blockchain transactions. And they, in the last bull run, were peaked up to right around $1,500. Where are we at now? We are sitting right around about 202, but even throughout most of November, December, still right around 70 up to 100. We are not even close to the previous all-time high. Why would that be? Most other coins that have utility, like Cardano, broke its all-time high already. Ethereum broke its old all-time high already. Bitcoin broke its old all-time high already. These cryptocurrencies that aren't even getting past that, it's because that previous bull cycle where it was $1,500, that was the FOMO at the very top peak of the bull run, that last bull run, and it drove their prices up. But what is this utility? You're just, it's a fast payment transactor. Okay, get in line. It's around the block. We have so many of those cryptos doing the exact same thing. If it is not the best, or if it doesn't differentiate itself, I think you're going to have a very, very hard time. And then you're going to see other people mention blockchain networks, not just payment systems, but blockchain networks. So I'm going to mention 3 of them here real quick, just so that you know to keep an eye out for them and why I'm not big fans. One of which is IOTA. And they're available on Voyager. I know that. I don't believe they're available on Binance US or Coinbase. But the funny thing is, whenever you see articles put out about the mainstream talking about crypto, they'll have like a graphic, and in the graphic it'll be like Stellar and Zcash and Litecoin and all these fucking things that haven't done anything, and I couldn't even tell you how long. And those are the ones that they've referred to because they've been around for a while. They have that name recognition, but that doesn't mean that they have the utility. And what IOTA did when they were trying to set up their blockchain is they used a different method of running their information. They referred to it as the tangle. And it was supposed to tie everything together in your decentralized world. Well, I've read through several different people breaking down the tangle both back then and now. The sentiment hasn't really changed, but the tangle was a more remedial version of what Satoshi Nakamoto put in place with Bitcoin and blockchain. People found either critical issues in it or reasons why it wasn't being effective. And yeah, did IOTA pump a little bit? Sure. We're up from 47 cents. It's like $1.42. But I just do not see them at a $3 billion market cap with no real differentiating utility taking the place of a Cardano or a Polkadot or a Binance coin or an Ethereum with all of the partnerships and all of the future roadmap stuff that they have. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then another one is Neo. So I know Neo's available on Voyager, and I don't believe it's available on Coinbase or Binance US yet. And that's okay. You're not really missing out on much. Neo, again, is just another network blockchain. Now, they do have a new version coming out. They're doing an update shortly. I don't expect fireworks to come from it. I really don't. It's the same problem. They were coming up short on a couple different things that, yeah, okay, their blockchain and network is fine, but they were having, even in this, they were breaking down major flaws about the amount of information you could move, the amount of time, how stuff works. It just didn't set out anything different to fix it. And you would have to do, at least based on this article, when they were breaking it down, a couple hard forks just to reset or try and like break things down to make it move quicker. Bitcoin can get away with being a little slow early on because that is the definitive winner in crypto for store of value. People can't say, oh, well, Bitcoin has this issue, therefore Neo has it, they'll have to accept it. No, they don't. Everyone could stop using Neo today and the market wouldn't care. It doesn't matter. Can't do the same for Bitcoin. So when you're looking at cryptos like this and why you see these massive run-ups, the last time it was up to $159, and then it's only up about, let's see, we actually have the percentage. Neo's up about 466%. Okay, that's great. But it's still, yeah, I'm looking over on the left-hand side, anywhere from 700 to multiple thousands of percent. And it's just, I'm not seeing the value in comparison. I'm more than happy to have someone comment as to why the value's there. I don't see it, both in the numbers and just in critical thinking. And the last one I'm going to mention is EOS. I fucking hate EOS. The main guy that made it, Dan Laramere, so he literally sold all of his EOS and just bailed from the project. Just because they were having issues. So on January 10th, leading pro EOS YouTuber Colin, who I don't know who the hell Colin is, talked about selling all of his EOS after the revelation that Dan Laramere had resigned his position as the chief technology officer of Block One, the company that made the software powering the EOS blockchain. So it not only had a horrible effect on how many people were holding EOS and how many projects wanted to come to EOS for their network. But if you look at performance, this time last year, where were we at? So right around March, we were at $4.23. Oh no, that was 2019. Right around March, we were at $3.59. And right now, we are at $4.12. That is the worst return of any major blockchain in crypto of 63.6%. If you want to hold it, good luck. I'm not telling you not to. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm saying you should be cautious. And well, no, there is one worse one. Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, which is just up 7%. So you could really be fucked and have bought that. But the good thing is you didn't, because we covered it on Viva Litecoin, and you knew that that wasn't the real version of Bitcoin, and you made better decisions. So aside from that, hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight, not so much into any one particular crypto, but when you're looking at the overall space, it isn't just about, oh, it's a bull run, everything pumps. Oh, this one is recognizable, it will obviously pump. It has to do with, there are now 8,900 cryptocurrencies listed on CoinMarketCap. If you do not differentiate yourself, if you do not do something different, if your team is not active, or if your team bails, like Dan Laramere, you're going to have a very, very hard time. So those are all things to pay attention to. I hope you find that helpful. Please subscribe if you haven't. Share the video. Drop a like down there if you could for me. And I appreciate you for spending your time with me today on Viva La Coin. And I will catch you guys next time.